Go.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Toast Podcast. I'm Miss Helen. So happy to introduce back to the podcast Clayton Mullen. It's good to see you again. And wow, you have been busy.
Yes, I have. But Miss Helen, thank you so much for having me back on. And yes, it's been a busy couple months since we last spoke.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about the album, Start at the End, which I love that song. A lot of the songs that are on the album, you've kind of dropped and kind of put out there. For instance, Miss Somewhere just came out. But tell me about the making of the album and what it's meant for you personally.
Yeah, I mean, the making of the album has been a long time coming. I mean, some of these songs I wrote while I was still in college, and then I knew I wanted to put out a project that kind of told a story. It's not, I wouldn't call it a story project, but the songs, if you listen to top down, kind of follows a story of like love and heartbreak, and then coming back in, and there's a little bit. I had to sprinkle in some college stuff, of course,
Yes,
and
yes.
then more heartbreak, and then falling back in love at the end with "Set on You." So it definitely is a following the trend of just young love, growing up, figuring things out, and yeah, it's been a fun time making the album.
As I was listening to each track on it, I did follow that, and it's got such a good vibe to it, and it's the sound is amazing, the production, and I guess I'm trying to put my words together, but you did take me like on a little trip, and I
Yeah,
like how you sprinkled in some of the college songs. Let's go ahead and talk about that things College Town taught me because you and Grant Gilbert did that one. I know we talked about it here on the podcast, so let's just jump into that fun one.
yeah. So that came about just one day. I ran into Grant and his team, and we just talked about how it would be fun to do a song together with him have going to Texas Tech, me at TCU, of course. So we grabbed a songwriting date, and we wrote that song first try, which is pretty unlikely. Usually, it takes a couple of goes at it to get a good one, but we felt like that was super special. So we had Grant's team help out with the production and stuff, and yeah, it was really fun to make the content and stuff with that song. We went back to Fort Worth and did some like who's smarter, who learned more in college, who can drink a beer faster, all the gimmicky stuff. Um, but yeah, it was just kind of like an anthemic type song that we wanted people to relate to and not take too seriously. It wasn't like groundbreaking stuff. It was just, hey, this is a fun song you can listen to whether you're drinking a beer, you're at a tailgate, or you're working out. Um, and just like some fun lyric that didn't not too deep. So that was the
Yeah,
goal with that one.
it is a good one. It's a fun one. Let's go ahead and talk about Start at the End, your title cut. Very good one. Oh man, that one really grabs your attention.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is a song that I've had my eye on for a couple years now, actually. So my producer Blake Bollinger wrote that song. So I didn't write on that song, but he wrote that with Jared Mullins and Morgan Wallen. So it was a song that never saw the light of day from Morgan's career. It was I want to say it's like 6 or 7 years old. And from the moment I heard it, I knew I wanted to surround my batch of songs that we had already come up with that song. So we went to the studio, and with Blake's magic and all the players on that song, it just really started to come to life. And it's just such a fun, cool song. Like it is a love song, but it's not a love song. It's just kind of about being in the moment. And I'm the type of guy, I never want to go out to the bars. And whether that's staying in or start at the end of the night tonight, whatever that means, but it just meant like it was like kind of, hey, why are we getting all dressed up if we can just stay here tonight and
Hmm.
be together?
Excellent. Love that. You have a gorgeous song on there, Learn to Love Again. And who is singing with you on that one, the duet?
Yeah, so that's Brooke Lee, and Brooke Lee is so amazing. I heard her singing once at a Why Not Wednesday, which is a songwriter round in Nashville. I believe it was like one of my first weeks I moved to Nashville, and I heard her singing, and I was like, "Dang, that girl is so good." It'd be cool to do a feature with her one day. And then fast forward, I guess, a year or so, I wrote that song with Matt Morrissey. It was just the two of us, so there's no female writer on it, and I knew that the song had potential to be a duet. And when it came down to who I wanted to ask to be on it, I knew I wanted to ask Brooke, and thank goodness she said she said yes, and then we got into the studio, and her voice just sounds so great. I think our voices actually sound like phenomenal together. She's got so much character to her voice, and that song, honestly, I do love Start at the End, but that song's up there for one of my favorites on the record.
Yes, it's gorgeous, and your voices do blend well. Another one that got stuck in my head was "Set on You."
Yeah, I love that one too. Yeah, I wrote that one about my girlfriend. Just the moment you realize, like, oh, she might be the one. And that one, the demo actually, so we made it a little bit more produced out, but because of just the significance of the lyrics and the melodies, I figured that that song didn't need anything more than a piano to really
Uh,
drive home
uh,
the story. So we cut back everything and just left it piano, vocal, and let the story do the talking and put it as the last track of the album. And that's a very special one to me as well.
oh, yeah. I love the whole that was a good call on the piano. That really sets that song apart. And then you have your other fun song, Clean Record.
Yep, Clean Record is a great one. That, funny enough, I had that was the last song added to the album. That one of my buddies who I actually wrote "Set on You" with, Colton Venner, had sent me that song. And then I'm sure, do you know Reed Houghton?
Hmm.
So Reed Houghton, he was a, I guess he's not a Texas guy, but he's a like a rock artist, and he's one of my. He's actually he used to be roommates with Grant Gilbert, but they had written that song, and they were like, "Hey, we're getting old now, so I don't know if we can sing it," but it fit perfectly with what I needed for the missing puzzle of the record. So that was one of the last songs added, and it was one last kick at like me and my buddies in college and getting through it. And we made it out just barely, but we burned down every bar. We almost got in trouble a couple times, but never too bad. And yeah, that means a lot to me too.
And you got a couple of Texas songs, Bigger in Texas, and specifically I want to talk about Texas for Me.
Yeah, yeah, Bigger in Texas, I do love that one. Texas for Me, that is also one of my favorite songs. I guess I can't keep saying they're all my favorite songs. I
I know.
gotta pick.
Okay. So anybody that knows me, that's been around me for years, like every song is my favorite song. They're like, how come you say every song is your favorite song? So I can totally relate to
Yeah,
that.
it's hard to pick. It's like they're all like my babies. I can't pick which
Of
child.
course they are. Of course they are. Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be like my mom saying that my sister's her favorite child, and I'm like, but
Exactly.
yeah, Texas for Me, I wrote with Matt Muehlhair and Trent Wayne. We actually, funny story about that song. I was still in college, so I flew into Nashville for the weekend. I believe I had like a write that fell through, and this was a last minute right. And these guys are two young guys, just like me. I think they're 22, 23 years old. And we got the chorus of it that day, but never finished the verses because sometimes you just finish what you can that day and then you revisit it another time. But almost a year later, when I finally moved to town, that's when we got into to finish it. And I knew that one was special. I was just moving to Tennessee, and it was about getting out of Texas because of a girl, and you just can't see anything there is going to remind you of her. But the production on that, I would say, is the most pop leaning of my stuff. I know that I'm definitely in contemporary country and not red dirt, but we tried a lot of different ear candy things on that you can
Hmm.
hear in the bridge, especially in the chorus. There's some rocky guitars. There's this like heartbeat pulsing thing that really brings the listener in the intro. But that one was special to me as well, just because of the fact that like that song could have never been finished had we not gotten back in. We could have completely forgot about it, but we
Wow.
got back in when I moved to Nashville and made it a kick-ass song.
It is. It is. Have you ever wondered how artists like Treaty Oak Revival, Red Clay Strays, and Aaron Watson maintain the high quality and high demand for their merchandise? CH Lone Star Promo is the answer. Created in Texas to serve Texas artists, and they're currently offering 15% off on all merch orders from musicians. Visit chlonestarpromo.com to get started and tell them Texas Toast sent you.
I was reading the other day that it takes at least $1 million to break an artist. That's a ton of change, and it can feel overwhelming. But with social media leveling the playing field, you just need an effective strategy to release your music. Check out Release Rocket to ensure your single does not die after release day. You've already put time, effort, and tons of money into writing and recording your album. Let the guys at Release Rocket keep your new release alive.
And I love your focus. I love your creativity. And it sounds like to me that, I mean, it's just like nonstop for you writing and then you record it. There's for everyone, so in case you don't know yet, there's 13 songs on here. So
Yeah.
it's just a great combination of like you said, kind of taking you on that journey. So as you were going through this process, how long did it take you to record and produce and
Yeah. So
song?
that's something, as I'm completely independent artist, I self-fund everything. So I'm always trying to figure out the best way to do it quickly, but also efficiently and cost effective. So I worked with 6 producers on this album, which from my understanding is pretty unheard of. People tend to
Wow.
stick with a couple different guys. But I worked with 6 producers, and the idea behind that is it would make it the quickest for me. If I can have multiple guys working at the same time, it could help me finish and get to that end zone as quick as possible. But yeah, we started recording. I want to say we went into the studio with Start at the End, Bigger in Texas, Good Trucks Rust, and then a 4th song that actually didn't make the album, but it'll be following it. And that was in December of last year. So what is that? Almost 8 months ago, 10 months
Hmm.
ago, 9 months
Hmm.
ago. And from when we started recording those songs, we I guess recorded all the other songs that fell in between. But yeah, it's been a long time coming, and writing those songs even before that, because a lot of the songs I'd probably written a year before that to know that we wanted to have them on the album. But like you said, working nonstop, we just last week recorded 4 more songs in the
See, I
studio.
had a feeling. I had a feeling yours. Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
So we're already getting ahead on the next project, and yeah, I just can't slow down. You got to keep the snowball rolling and building on itself. And yeah, I guess it is funny to think without we haven't even put out this album, and we already started recording for the next one.
I like that you included Raining in Dallas on this album also, because that's one of my favorites from you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's also it's tough because sometimes people get frustrated with me if I like carry over songs onto an album that have already been released. But in my mind, yes, Miss Helen, you might know Raining in Dallas, but to someone who just found me because of Start at the End, I want them to know that I had these other great songs before it,
Yes.
because a new song to you might only be Start at the End and Clean Record and Texas for me, but at the stage I'm at, a new song for me for other people is every song I've ever put out. So they could backtrack all the way to Maker's Mark, one of my first ones. So I think I'd
Mm,
be kind of like shooting myself in the foot not to carry over some songs. And at the end of the day, in the past like 6 weeks, we'll have put out 7 new songs between College Town, Miss Somewhere, and then the 5 coming out with the album. But
yes.
yeah, I'm really glad that because that was a big discussion whether we would keep Raining in Dallas, keep Heart Don't Break Itself, and stuff of that, songs
Yes.
like that rolling over. But I think it was the right call to keep them there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good call on that one. So, how are you liking it in Nashville?
I
Besides
love it.
working all the time, working, 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 but I mean, you're really doing some good stuff. I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you, Miss Helen. I really do love it. It's been not as hard of a transition as I thought it would be. My mom actually moved here right before I did, so I got family here. My younger brother and sister go to the University of Tennessee, hence the Vols hat.
Uh-huh. I see.
So they're close by. My girlfriend lives here, so honestly, this is the new home base for the Mullen family, and it's been great. I've been writing songs a lot for myself, but also writing songs for other artists. We had an Austin Snell song come out called Wildfire. I think we have a Nate Smith song coming out at the top of next year, which would be great. And then, yeah, it's just, I mean, if you're not in Nashville, it's tough to compete with the writing. I mean, even some of the biggest names in Texas, they're all recording their stuff right down the road and
Yes. Hmm.
writing it with the same guys.
Wow. I love that your whole family came to join you. That is so awesome. That's
Yeah,
really great support. That really is going to lend a lot for your success as well, having that strength there with you.
yeah, and it fires me up to work that much harder because if they moved here to be part of it, I'm not just proving myself right, but proving the people around me.
Right. So let's talk about some of your touring and your live shows, some of the people that you've been playing with lately.
Yeah. This summer has been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of really cool experiences on the road playing festivals and places we'd never been before. For example, we I've been in South Dakota 3 times in the past 6 months, and before that, I'd never touched foot anywhere near South Dakota. But yeah, we played in Utah with Corey Kent and
Mhm.
Bailey Zimmerman, and then we went to Yerington, Nevada with the same crew. We had at the top of the year we had the opportunity to play with Warren Ziders, which was super great. I think we had 10 or 12 dates with them and played some great venues in Texas. We played Emos in Austin, and we played the House of Blues, the Main Room in Dallas, which is such a surreal venue to play. Um, but yeah, then we've had some shows with Wade. We're playing with Wade next week, actually, at the
Oh,
Stars of Texas Festival in Ennis. We
uh-huh.
sprinkled in a couple headline dates too, which I'm really excited about. A couple with Randall King. Randall's team
Mhm.
is so great. His on this is a fun fact, but his album is probably the most listened to album in our van of all time. We
Wow.
just listen through it's there's no skips on it. It's fantastic. So it's cool when you're listening to that and then you get to open up a show for him. It's yeah, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, that is pretty surreal. So, just want to ask you a question before we wrap things up. If there's one thing that you want fans to take away from this album, what would it be?
Yeah. One thing I want you guys to take away. I guess the first thing is this is just the start of what we're doing. I know I've put out a lot of music beforehand, but we're really just getting started. I have so many songs sitting in a folder in my phone that I can't wait to show you guys that are even better than these ones. And yeah, I'll always do what the fans want. I think when I see comments that people want music more frequently, and now I'm seeing comments that people want more music to drop with the album. So it's like I am listening to you guys, and I'm always going to do my best to make you guys happy because you guys are what drive this machine.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're so proud of you and the album. I guess by the time this airs, the album's already out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I hope you guys will check
make
it out.
sure make sure you look it out. Clayton Mullen. It's 13 songs. The album is Start at the End. And thank you so much, Clayton, for coming and catching us up, talking about the album. And we're following along, been following along, and just so proud of you and all the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure hopping on here with you guys, and yeah, I'm excited for next batch of music.
Us too. Absolutely. Thank
Yep.
you, Clayton.
Thanks, Miss Helen.